The sea is never silent. Even in calm, it whispers with voices older than memory itself. Waves roll and sigh, carrying secrets from the edge of time to the listening shore. Thunder hums far away, like a drumbeat in the chest of the world, slow and foreboding. Above, the sky stretches vast, painted in fading gold and deepening shades of gray. Every sailor knows this silence, the pause before a storm, the breath before awakening. Legends say the sea is alive, a realm where gods still walk, unseen yet always near. Among them is Poseidon, keeper of the trident, lord of storms, master of the abyss. His presence stirs not with rage, but with power, endless and untamed, calm yet immense. When the clouds gather, when the wind sharpens, his depths begin to open before us. We step into a story not bound by time, where waves speak and eternity waits below. Close your eyes, hear the tide, and let the ocean guide you into the eternal depths. Tonight, we sail into the storm, into the myth, into Poseidon's vast and endless realm. The tide is never still. It drifts and hums, carrying whispers like threads pulled from ancient dreams. Every ripple holds a voice, a soft murmur, a memory left behind by time itself. Long ago, sailors leaned close to the water, listening for answers in its quiet song. They swore the sea could speak, though never in words, only in echoes and sighs. Some said it told them where to sail, others said it warned of storms, yet unseen. No two heard the same story, yet all felt the pull of its mysterious rhythm. Tonight, the whispers return, rolling over the waves, wrapping around us like mist. They speak of journeys across horizons no map has ever dared to draw. They tell of islands rising like emeralds from the blue, untouched by human hands. The tide remembers each step, each oar, each vessel that dared to cross its skin. It remembers the laughter of crews, the prayers whispered into the salt air. It remembers the fear too, though it does not hold it with cruelty, only with weight. For the ocean is not a judge, but a witness, holding memory deeper than stone. Every crest, every fall of water, is a page in its endless book of time. And if you listen closely now, you may hear your own story weaving into its song. The tide carries questions, mysteries not yet solved, waiting for hearts willing to hear. It asks, who are you upon these waters, a wanderer, a seeker, or a dreamer of myths? It asks, do you come for riches, for truth, or simply to lose yourself in blue silence? The tide does not demand answers, only attention, only the courage to listen. For within its soft pull lies the secret of journeys yet unmade. Imagine standing on the deck of an ancient ship, sails breathing like lungs above. The air is damp with salt, your hands gripping the worn wood of the railing. You hear it then, below the crash of waves, beneath the calling gulls. A sound that is not quite human, not quite natural, yet alive all the same. It is a whisper, curling through your chest, steady and calm as a heartbeat. The tide is speaking, not to all, but to you, in this moment, on this night. It asks you to remember that the sea has always been a teacher. It teaches patience in the waiting calm, and strength in the roaring storm. It teaches surrender, not as defeat, but as trust in a force far greater than us. Every wave that touches your ship is an invitation to let go and listen. Every ripple is a reminder that you are part of a rhythm older than stars. The whispers grow clearer as the tide swells, repeating names long forgotten. They speak of sailors who vanished yet live forever in the ocean's breath. They speak of gods who once walked upon the shore, their footsteps shaping cliffs. They speak of Poseidon, whose gaze stirs currents deeper than light can reach. But tonight, The whispers are not only of the past, they are of the present, of the storm waiting just beyond sight. The tide is calling, not to warn, but to welcome, guiding you into mystery. You stand still, heart steady, feeling the weight of unseen voices around you. The sea does not frighten you now. It awakens something forgotten within. The tide whispers again, softer this time, like a secret shared only once. It says the ocean is eternal, and you are part of its story. Not separate, not a stranger, but a note in its endless song. And as you breathe in the salt air, you realize the truth in those words. You are no longer only a listener. You are now a part of the whispering tide. The sea has always been a mirror for human courage, reflecting those who dared to journey beyond sight. Sailors of old rose before dawn, their eyes fixed on horizons painted in mist and flame. Their ships were wooden hearts, creaking yet faithful, built to carry them into the unknown. Every sail was a promise, every rope a prayer woven into the fabric of wind and salt. They believed the sea was alive, testing them, guiding them, watching with unseen eyes. When storms gathered, they whispered to one another of Poseidon's restless hand. Yet even in fear, they sailed on. For the sea was both their trial and their teacher. Legends spread from port to port, carried on the lips of men who swore they had seen wonders. One spoke of glowing fish that lit the waters like lanterns beneath a starless sky. Another told of islands that appeared at dawn and vanished by the following dusk. Some claimed they had heard songs rising from the deep, voices sweet as lullabies. Each tale was different, but all agreed on one truth. The sea was never silent. Its silence was not absence, but anticipation, like a pause before breath is drawn. In the hush, men felt their hearts beat louder, their thoughts sharpen like blades. They knew the ocean spoke in ways beyond words, through signs only dreamers could read. A flock of gulls circling above might mean land. A sudden stillness might mean storm. To sail was to listen, to feel, to surrender one's will to something greater. Every voyage was a conversation with the sea, part fear, part awe, part surrender. Those who refused to listen often found themselves lost, swallowed by horizons endless. But those who heeded its whispers returned with eyes alight, carrying stories like treasures. They spoke not of conquest, but of communion, a fragile bond with the vast unknown. In their voices lived reverence, as if they had glimpsed eternity in a rolling wave. Imagine standing among them at night, lanterns swaying, stars scattered above. Their songs rise, low and steady, weaving courage into the dark air around you. They sing not to silence fear, but to honor it, for fear is proof of respect. And always, beyond their music, lies the deep breathing of the sea itself. The tide pushes against the hull, steady as a hand guiding them forward. The wind fills the sails, whispering promises of lands yet unseen. Every sailor feels it, an invisible presence woven into sky and water alike. They know storms may come, yet they do not curse them, for storms are also signs. Signs that they have entered the realm of the gods, where no path is certain. To sail is to live between certainty and mystery, between horizon and abyss. Some say Poseidon himself placed such storms to remind men of their place, not as rulers, not as masters, but as guests passing through his eternal hall. The sailors understood this truth in their bones, though few spoke it aloud. For to name the god was to invite his gaze, a weight few could endure. So they sailed on, trusting the tide, surrendering to winds, guided by stars. Every creak of the mast, every groan of the hull, became part of the journey's song. And in that song lived all their hopes, fears, and faith bound together. The unknown was vast, but their spirits matched it, bright as flame in endless dark. For the sea is not conquered by force, but entered with humility and wonder. Sailors of the unknown knew this, and so they listened, and so they endured. And as the night deepened, the horizon faded, but their voices did not. The sea had become their companion, their teacher, and their endless test. And still, its whispers carried on, guiding them into mystery without end. The calm before the storm is unlike any silence known to land. It is not emptiness, but fullness, a pause where the sea gathers its voice. The waves slow their rhythm, as if waiting, as if holding their breath with us. The air thickens, carrying the weight of something vast and unseen. Every sailor feels it, that strange stillness that settles deep into the bones. It is the hush of the ocean listening to itself, measuring the world in heartbeats. Above, the sky dims, clouds gathering but not yet breaking. The horizon blurs, fading into a silver line where sea and sky merge. Birds vanish, their wings carried far away, as though they too sense the shift. The wind pauses. Sails hang loose, ropes fall slack, the ship frozen and waiting. This stillness is not peace, it is promise, the moment before sound becomes thunder. Some sailors close their eyes, whispering prayers to gods they barely name. Others stand quiet, knowing words would break the fragile balance of silence. It is in this moment that the sea feels alive, aware, a vast mind beneath the waves. Legends say Poseidon himself walks then, unseen, his trident drawing circles in the deep. The calm is his shadow, a sign of his hand upon the water, holding time still. The ocean feels endless here, more sky than sea, more breath than storm. It is a reminder that storms are not born in anger, but in quiet intention. The calm is the womb of the storm, where silence becomes energy waiting to move. If you listen closely, you can hear the faint hum of the water below. It is not sound, but vibration, a pulse that runs through hull and bone alike. Every sailor feels it, a current of power flowing unseen beneath the calm. It binds them to the sea, to the moment, to the breath of the coming storm. Some describe it as awe, others as dread, but it is always unforgettable. It is a silence so deep it amplifies every thought, every heartbeat, every breath. You stand at the rail, fingers tight against the wood, eyes searching the still horizon. No wave rises, no gull cries, only the sound of yourself listening. Time feels stretched, endless, as though the world itself holds its breath. The ocean whispers not in words, but in presence, heavy and undeniable. This is the calm before, a silence carved by gods, vast and eternal. It is here that sailors learn patience, for no man commands the waiting sea. The storm will come in its own time, and the calm reminds them of that truth. The silence teaches surrender, not as loss, but as acceptance of what must be. For in this pause lies wisdom. Nothing comes without first becoming still. Even the fiercest storm is born in silence, in shadow, in unseen depth. And so the sailors wait, standing in the grip of Poseidon's quiet hand. Some imagine they hear whispers in the hush, voices rising from the deep. Not warnings, not threats, but reminders that they are never alone at sea. The calm is crowded with memory, with presence, with the unseen watching. It is a sacred moment, neither safe nor dangerous, but entirely alive. One sailor closes his eyes and feels the calm as a blessing. Another shivers, sensing it as a test, a doorway to the unknown. Both are right, for the calm holds all truths, each wave still unborn. The ocean waits with them, steady, patient, eternal in its stillness. And then, a single breath of wind stirs, breaking the spell without shattering it. The sails tremble, ropes creak, and every heart on board quickens at once. The calm is ending, the promise unfolding, the silence giving way to voice. The storm is near, but for a moment, the world has known pure stillness. And in that stillness, every soul has touched the eternal depth of the sea. The sky is a canvas, and tonight the ocean paints it with colors that carry weight. At first, it is pale, brushed with fading gold and soft traces of lavender. But soon the palette shifts, shadows stretching long, gray, bleeding into silver and steel. The horizon darkens, a slow curtain falling over the edge of the world. Clouds form not in stillness, but in motion, alive like herds of unseen creatures. They gallop across the heavens, their shapes bending, twisting, becoming something more. One resembles a horse, mane of vapor streaming wild against the fading light. Another gathers like a hand, fingers curled as if clutching an invisible trident. Faces appear in their folds, eyes deep and watchful, gazing down with solemnity. The sailors look upward, silent, recognizing signs older than words. For every shape in the sky carries meaning, messages stitched into the storm. They whisper among themselves, voices low calling the clouds omens of gods. Some see guardians, others warnings, but none deny the power they reveal. The air grows heavier, as if each breath draws in part of the sea itself. The light dims, though the sun has not yet fallen, swallowed by layers of gray. The ocean mirrors the sky, shifting from blue to iron, waves dressed in shadow. The world above and below feels one, fused in a single breathless moment. Every detail sharpens, the creak of rope, the sigh of wood, the stillness of men. No gulls call, no dolphins leap, only the looming silence of cloud and water. And then, a flicker, a line of light, silver and quick, splitting the sky. It vanishes, but its echo lingers in the eyes of those who watch. Lightning without sound, a glimpse of Poseidon's trident testing the dark. The sailors cross themselves, or whisper prayers, or bow their heads in reverence. The clouds roll thicker now, stacked like mountains rising upon mountains. Their peaks burn faintly, touched by the last dying rays of the sun. Yet within them is no warmth, only the promise of storm and shadow. The horizon is lost, swallowed whole by the swelling army of the sky. Time feels slower, stretched thin as if every second grows longer, heavier. The world waits for the first crack of thunder, but none comes yet. Instead, the silence deepens, pressing like weight upon every chest. It is not emptiness, it is anticipation, the pause before gods draw breath. One sailor dares to speak, his voice a thin thread against the vast hush. "Look," he says, pointing upward, "the sea has raised its army in the clouds." And in truth, the shapes above seem alive, warriors cloaked in shifting gray. Some clash, others scatter, only to gather again in greater force. The imagination blurs with vision, myth folding into sight like waves into shore. Were they only clouds, or the breath of beings too vast to see clearly? The sailors do not ask, for they know some truths live only in silence. The sky is no longer sky, but a living realm, a kingdom of shadow. It speaks without words, commanding attention, demanding reverence. The first cold drop of rain falls, sharp as a note breaking the hush. It lands on the deck, small, almost fragile, yet immense in meaning. Others follow, scattered, quick, a prelude to the symphony yet to come. Still no thunder, still no roar, only the slow gathering of water and cloud. The sailors breathe in unison, their hearts waiting, braced for the voice of the storm. Above them, the shapes grow clearer, more vast, more divine. A horse rears, a hand tightens, a face gazes long into eternity. The sky darkens fully now, the day dissolved into storm-born night. And in that dark, the sailors know the storm has found them at last. But still, for a final breath, the world holds its silence. The sky watches, the sea waits, and the storm draws near, unseen but certain. The sea is restless now, every wave rising higher, every crest sharper against the darkening sky. The ship rides the motion like a weary traveler, swaying but not yet breaking under the weight. Ropes creak and strain, their fibers singing a low song of tension and endurance. The wood groans, not with fear, but with age, a voice of long journeys across endless waters. The sailors move quietly, each step measured, as if even sound could awaken the storm. They know the sea listens, and they dare not tempt it with careless noise. One sailor ties a knot, his hand steady, though his heart drums faster than before. Another secures the mast, his eyes scanning the horizon that has long since vanished. They do not speak of fear, for the sea demands respect, not trembling. Instead, they act in rhythm, as if the ship itself conducts them in silent order. Every gesture is ancient, passed down from hands that once braved storms like this. The storm has not yet struck, but its presence fills every corner of the air. Salt stings sharper now, carried by winds that swirl in unpredictable bursts. The deck grows slick with early rain, droplets scattering like tiny stars in the gloom. The lanterns flicker, light bending in the wind, as though bowing to the storm. A sailor shields the flame, his hand trembling, but the light endures. Above, the clouds gather tighter, their edges folding inward, becoming a vast ceiling of shadow. Lightning flashes again, not jagged but curved, a sweep of silver across the dark vault. For a heartbeat, the sea shines, each wave etched in brilliance before the night returns. The men catch their breath, awe mingling with unease, for beauty and dread walk hand in hand. No thunder follows, only the rolling silence, thicker now, pressing deep into the soul. It is a silence that feels alive, a silence that belongs not to mortals. The captain steps forward, his figure steady, cloak heavy with mist and spray. He lifts his gaze to the heavens as though searching for meaning among the clouds. "Hold fast," he murmurs, words carried by the wind to every listening ear. The men nod, their faces solemn, their hands tightening on rope and wood. They trust the captain, but more than that, they trust the sea itself. For trust is survival, and doubt is a weight too heavy in waters like these. The waves rise again, taller, slower, each swell carrying the weight of the storm. The ship ascends, then descends, as if breathing with the ocean's vast lungs. A lantern falls, clattering against the deck, its light rolling like a restless star. A sailor retrieves it, his hands steady, his eyes calm despite the dark. Discipline holds them, the invisible anchor that steadies the crew amid the storm's edge. The sea whispers louder now, foam hissing against the wood, as if speaking in riddles. Every splash carries a rhythm, a pattern too complex for men to name. Yet in the chaos, there is order, a song sung in the language of waves. The captain hears it, feels it, and knows this storm is unlike the others. Not just wind and rain, not just sea and sky, but something greater. The storm is alive, and they are inside its waiting breath. Lightning splits the sky again, this time closer, sharper, its arc a blade of white fire. The sailors flinch, but do not falter, their grip strong, their stance firm. The air vibrates, though no thunder follows, a soundless shiver through bone and soul. They know now that the silence is not emptiness, it is choice. The storm chooses when to speak, and when it does, its voice will be absolute. A flock of birds bursts from the dark, wings frantic, fleeing toward unseen safety. The men watch, their eyes wide, for nature does not lie in its warnings. The sea swells higher, waves curling, foaming, whispering promises of what is to come. Still, the ship holds steady, a fragment of order in a world shifting toward chaos. The captain grips the railing, his knuckles pale, but his voice steady as he speaks again. The sea tests us, he says, but we endure, for we sail not against it, but with it. The sailors nod once more, the bond between them strong, forged in silence and salt. They wait together as the storm gathers its strength, unseen, unheard, but undeniable. The silence deepens once again, a final breath before the voice of gods awakens. The sea rises, the sky lowers, and the ship drifts in the narrow space between. And there, in that space, the men stand ready, their hearts steady, their souls braced. For they know the storm is not merely weather, it is destiny. The first true voice of the storm breaks the silence, a low rumble rolling through the sky like awakening thunder. It grows slowly, vibrating in the bones, echoing through the hollow spaces of the ship's frame. The men lift their heads as one, their eyes wide, for the gods have spoken at last. Lightning follows, brighter now, a jagged spear of light thrown from cloud to sea. It splits the horizon, striking water, and for a moment, the ocean glows with unearthly fire. The sailors hold their breath, knowing they stand before forces greater than any king. The thunder answers, deep and resonant, not violent but commanding, as if announcing itself. The storm has begun, and there is no turning back, only forward into its heart. Waves rise higher, lifting the ship as if it were a toy in giant hands. Spray lashes across the deck, cold and stinging, but the men do not falter. Each holds his post, bound by duty, bound by respect for the sea they tread. The captain stands firm at the helm, his cloak soaked, his gaze fixed on the dark horizon. His voice cuts through the storm, calm yet sharp, guiding his crew with steady words. "Hold fast," he commands, "for the sea takes only those who surrender their will." The men tighten their grips, their faith steadied by his unyielding presence. Rain begins in earnest now, heavy, relentless, drumming upon wood and skin alike. It runs down the deck in streams, carrying salt and foam in twisting rivulets. Lanterns sputter, some extinguished, their flames no match for the breath of the storm. Still, the crew works in rhythm, their actions born of instinct and ancient memory. For this dance with the sea is one they know well, though each storm is its own. The sky above is alive with constant flashes, light painting the heavens in brief fire. In those moments, faces are carved in silver, eyes reflecting awe and fear as one. The storm seems endless, each sound blending into another, a symphony of wind and wave. Yet within the chaos, there is an order, a pulse that drives the heart of the sea. The sailors feel it, not with ears but with spirit, a rhythm older than time itself. They understand they are part of it, not separate, moving with the ocean's will. A great wave rises ahead, towering, its crest curling like the back of a leviathan. The ship climbs, wood straining, sails snapping, men gripping ropes until knuckles whiten. At its peak, the world tilts, and for a breath they hang between sea and sky. Then the descent comes, swift, plunging, the bow crashing down with a roar of spray. The men stagger, but none fall, their balance honed by years of the sea's trials. Another wave follows, then another, each demanding strength, endurance, faith. But still the ship holds, its timbers groaning but refusing to yield. The captain whispers a prayer, not to escape, but for the strength to endure. For he knows the storm is not an enemy. It is a teacher, a test of will. The sea does not hate, the storm does not seek. It simply is, eternal and vast. And those who sail upon it must bow, not in fear, but in reverence. The storm deepens, its voice louder, its breath stronger. Yet the men stand firm. They are small, yet not broken, fragile, yet unyielding, mortal, yet eternal in spirit. Each man becomes part of something greater, woven into the fabric of sea and storm. And as thunder rolls again, not as wrath, but as song, they feel a strange peace. The storm is no longer a foe, but a presence, a vast and ancient companion. They sail not against it, but within it, and in that truth lies their strength. The night stretches on, the waves unending, the lightning ceaseless, the thunder eternal. And yet the ship endures, each heartbeat matched to the rhythm of the sea. For though the storm rages, though the gods speak, the sailors remain. Their spirit is unbroken, their bond unshaken, their path set upon waters divine. And in the heart of the storm, they find not despair, but meaning. The sea roars, the sky burns, and still, they sail onward into eternity. The storm no longer tests. It surrounds, a living world of water and thunder without beginning or end. The sky and sea are one now, a single endless gray lit by veins of white fire. The ship moves as if swallowed, its timbers trembling, yet refusing to break beneath the weight. Every sound is swallowed by the roar, every thought scattered by the endless voice of wind. Still, within that chaos, the sailors endure. Their discipline the last thread of order left. Hands grip ropes until skin burns, feet dig into soaked wood, eyes never leaving their posts. Their breath comes in rhythm with the storm, sharp, quick, yet unbroken by fear. The captain stands firm at the helm, his figure a silhouette against lightning's glow. His voice does not rise above the storm, but cuts through it, steady and unwavering. Steady, he calls, the word a beacon, guiding his men through the swirling abyss. They answer not with voices, but with action, their strength the chorus of survival. The storm lashes harder, rain striking like stones, waves curling as if to swallow whole. The ship rises, plunges, rises again, each motion like a heartbeat against eternity. Lanterns are long gone, their flames drowned, but the fire in the men remains. Their eyes reflect lightning, not with terror, but with defiance, glowing with stubborn resolve. One sailor, youngest among them, whispers a prayer to the sea itself. Not for safety, not for calm, but for strength to see the storm through. The sea answers in thunder, deep and endless, as though hearing his quiet words. Lightning strikes again, closer now, illuminating the deck in a silver blaze. For a heartbeat, every man is carved in fire, their forms statues of will. Then darkness returns, heavier than before, pressing like a shroud upon the ship. The men do not waver, their bond stronger than rope, stronger than wood, stronger than fear. Each man knows his place, each movement woven into the fabric of survival. The storm is vast, eternal, unyielding, but so too is their spirit. The waves climb higher still, mountains of water crashing with voices older than man. Spray blinds their eyes, wind tears at their cloaks, yet their stance does not break. The captain feels the helm resist, the sea pulling with the force of gods. His hands hold firm, his gaze fixed. Forward, his will unbending as the mast itself. The storm becomes more than sound, more than fury. It becomes presence, a vast, unseen being. Every flash of light feels like eyes upon them, every crash like a voice speaking. Not words, not language, but intent, ancient and beyond mortal measure. The men sense it too, their silence a prayer, their breath a vow to endure. For in the storm they feel not hatred, but judgment, a trial of mortal strength. The rain falls harder, endless, as though the heavens themselves have opened in full. The sea roars, waves colliding, breaking, reforming in patterns of divine design. Each moment stretches, every second a battle, every heartbeat a triumph of survival. The youngest sailor grips the mast, eyes wide, yet he does not falter. He sees the storm not as doom, but as revelation, a glimpse of eternity. The captain glances his way, a silent nod passing between them in the chaos. It is enough, a bond unspoken, a recognition of courage found in youth. The ship crests another towering wave, its bow slicing through the silver-black abyss. Spray erupts, cascading over the deck, drenching the men to their very bones. But their spirits burn brighter, each man more resolute with every strike of the storm. Thunder rolls again, deeper, fuller, no longer a threat, but a voice of command. The sailors bow their heads slightly, not in defeat, but in reverence for its power. They know they are not masters here, but guests upon waters eternal and divine. The storm shows no mercy, yet also no malice. It is simply truth, unveiled in fury. And in that truth, the sailors find strength, their souls bound tighter to the sea. Night stretches on, endless, the horizon swallowed, the sky without star or moon. But within the storm, light remains, not in flame, but in the fire of men's hearts. The ship sails on, battered but unbroken, a vessel of mortal will adrift in eternity. And as dawn hides behind the clouds, unseen, the men know one thing. The storm may rage eternal, but so too shall their spirit. The storm's fury does not fade, but the men begin to feel its rhythm like a second heartbeat. Waves still tower and fall, yet between them are moments of strange clarity, brief as candlelight. The youngest sailor lifts his head, rain streaming across his face, and senses something hidden. Not just chaos, not just wrath, but a secret woven within the roar of water. The sea is alive, not merely in motion, but in spirit, vast, aware, and eternal. The wind bends as if whispering, carrying fragments of voices older than the world itself. The captain feels it too, his eyes narrowing as if listening to something beneath the storm. He grips the helm, not with fear, but with reverence, guiding as one might guide a prayer. The ship answers him, groaning, yet turning as if obeying a path unseen but destined. Every plank, every sail, every knot of rope becomes part of the dialogue with the sea. The men sense it in their bones, moving in harmony though no command is spoken aloud. Their fear dulls, replaced by awe, the realization they sail within a living cathedral. The thunder is no longer just sound, but the tolling of bells echoing through eternity. The lightning is not just fire, but scripture written in white lines across the heavens. The storm is not punishment nor aimless rage, but revelation clothed in water and wind. The youngest sailor whispers again, this time not a prayer, but a question to the sea. "What are you?" he asks, his voice almost lost, but carried on the breath of the storm. The answer does not come in words, but in silence between thunder, vast and profound. It presses into his soul, filling him with wonder, humbling him with infinite presence. He feels himself small, a flicker of flame, yet not forgotten, not unseen by the abyss. The captain, watching, places a hand on his shoulder. steadying him against the sway. "There is truth here," the captain says, his voice low, his eyes fixed upon the horizon. "Not all storms are to be fought. Some are to be understood." The sailor nods, though he cannot fully grasp. He feels the weight of the words. Another wave surges, rising like a mountain, yet the ship does not falter in its climb. Spray blinds them, the wind howls, but the helm remains steady, guided by unseen hands. The sailors move as one, not resisting, but flowing with the storm's endless rhythm. Their strength is not in defiance, but in acceptance, in balance with what cannot be broken. The sea begins to change, subtle, a shift beneath the surface that only hearts can sense. The thunder softens, though still immense, carrying tones of warning, but also of promise. The rain falls lighter for a breath, silver threads against black, shimmering like tears of gods. The youngest sailor closes his eyes, feeling the truth of the storm seep into his spirit. He sees no end to it, yet he does not need an end, for it is given meaning. The captain speaks again, voice rough with salt and storm, yet steady as carved stone. "The sea is no enemy, lad. It is keeper of secrets, teacher of men, voice of eternity." The sailor opens his eyes, seeing the sea anew, not as terror, but as boundless truth. The others sense it too, their shoulders lighter, their movements sharper, their hearts steadier. The storm is no less fierce, but it is no longer darkness. It is light in disguise. And in that light, the sailors find strength not of body, but of spirit, unbreakable and true. The night deepens, yet within the storm there is a glow, faint but undeniable, guiding them on. Not from the sky, not from lanterns, but from within, a fire that no storm can drown. The ship sails forward, its men no longer lost, but part of the eternal rhythm of sea. And though the horizon is hidden, though dawn has not yet come, they know it awaits. For no storm, however eternal, can deny the promise of light beyond the waves. The storm does not end, but something within it shifts, like a curtain drawn back to reveal deeper truth. The sea remains violent, yet its rhythm feels guided, purposeful, as if leading the ship onward. The sailors feel the change in their bones, the weight of the storm no longer only resistance. It is challenge, but also invitation, urging them further into the heart of mystery. The captain's gaze sharpens, his hands steady on the helm, reading the sea as scripture. Every crest, every fall, every strike of wind feels like a verse of an eternal hymn. The youngest sailor stands near, silent, but his eyes burn with questions too vast for words. He senses the storm as presence, immense and alive, watching them with unknowable patience. Lightning splits the sky again, and in its glow, the horizon flickers with strange light. Not dawn, not fire, but something deeper, a glow beneath the surface of the water. The men see it too, their breaths caught, their eyes wide, yet none dare to speak. The glow pulses like a heartbeat, vast and steady, echoing through the thunder's roar. It calls to them, not in sound, but in gravity, pulling their spirits toward its depth. The captain whispers, barely audible, "Poseidon." The name falls heavy like stone into water, rippling through the hearts of every man aboard. The sea answers with a wave so high it blots out the heavens, yet spares their vessel. The men clutch ropes, anchor themselves, but no fear consumes them, only reverence. They know they stand not against the sea, but within its gaze, chosen for this trial. The youngest sailor trembles, not with terror, but with awe, his spirit open to the call. The glow grows stronger, illuminating the storm from beneath, as if the sea itself breathes. The ship rides the waves like a pilgrim on holy ground, battered yet blessed in passage. The thunder softens, shifting tone, no longer the roar of rage, but the chant of depth. The wind still howls, yet carries undertones of harmony, woven with something eternal. The captain closes his eyes briefly, feeling not just salt and rain, but memory older than man. He knows then they are not lost, but guided, carried toward a place meant only for few. The sailors bow their heads, silent prayers passing like whispers, each one heard by the sea. The youngest sailor lifts his voice, steady now. "We are yours to test, Great One." The storm answers with silence, brief but infinite, as though acknowledging the vow. Then the sea swells again, lifting the ship high before plunging it into abyssal dark. But within that darkness, the glow remains. Steady, a beacon no wave can swallow. The sailors cling to it with their hearts, not their hands, for it guides from within. The captain steers toward it, though no map marks the way, no star dares to guide. The light grows brighter, green and gold, shimmering like the breath of ancient gods. The men's eyes reflect it, no longer shadows, but radiant with borrowed divinity. They are weary, battered, but no longer broken, bound to the storm as kin. The sea roars again, not in fury, but in proclamation, as if welcoming them deeper. The youngest sailor laughs, brief and wild, carried by the truth of what he feels. The sound cuts through the storm like a bell, lifting spirits, anchoring hearts in courage. The captain does not silence him, for he knows laughter has become a hymn of survival. The ship crests another towering wave, framed in lightning, haloed in stormlight divine. And as it plunges forward, the men know this is no mere voyage, it is pilgrimage. They sail not just for survival, but for revelation, drawn into the eternal depths of Poseidon. And though the storm rages eternal, they feel closer now to the truth hidden within its heart. Not destruction, not doom, but communion, a meeting between mortal will and godly sea. And with each wave, each strike of thunder, they move nearer to that truth unspoken. The storm no longer feels endless, it feels eternal, a bond unbreakable beyond time itself. The ship sails deeper into the storm, yet the glow beneath the sea grows brighter, guiding like a beacon. Each wave that crashes feels less like resistance and more like the pulse of a great heart. The sailors, though weary, stand taller, their fear burned away by wonder and quiet reverence. The captain's hands grip the helm, his face lit in flashes of lightning, eyes sharp and unwavering. He feels the storm speaking not in words, but in the rhythm of waves, in the roar of wind. The youngest sailor leans on the mast, eyes wide, watching the glow dance across the water. He whispers again, "Poseidon," not in fear but in awe, like a child calling to the stars. The sea answers with a surge, the ship lifted high, suspended as if between worlds above and below. The men cling, but not in desperation, rather in acceptance, carried where the sea commands. The thunder rolls softer, deeper, like a drumbeat marking time beyond mortal reckoning. The sailors hear it not as chaos, but as song, a hymn sung by the eternal waters. Their hearts align with it, each beat of their chests answering the voice of the sea. The glow beneath spreads wider, stretching across the waves, shimmering like veins of liquid fire. It pulses in rhythm with the storm, as though both sky and sea share a single soul. The youngest sailor dares to step forward, arms outstretched, embracing the storm's embrace. His laughter rises again, bright and defiant, carried into the wind like a challenge and a prayer. The captain does not rebuke him. Instead, his eyes soften, pride hidden in their storm-lit depths. For in that moment, he knows the lad has touched something most men never glimpse. The storm lashes on, yet the ship is no longer prey, but pilgrim, part of its vast design. The waves no longer crash against it, but seem to bear it, lifting it with measured grace. The sailors exchange glances, silent but sure. They are no longer lost, but chosen. Each man feels the weight of destiny pressing, heavy but not crushing, binding them to the sea. The captain raises his voice, clear and commanding. "Hold steady, we are near the truth." His words cut through the roar, not by volume, but by certainty, igniting resolve in weary men. The youngest sailor grips the rail, eyes fixed on the glow, unblinking despite the storm's fury. The glow shifts, forming patterns like runes, ancient and unknowable, etched in water and light. They swirl, rise, and fade, yet each man feels them carved deep into his soul forever. The sea swells higher, waves towering, but their fury feels like ritual, a test of worth. The men answer with steady hands and steady hearts, their unity unbroken by the storm. The captain whispers to himself, "This is no wrath. This is invitation." Another lightning strike splits the sky, illuminating the ship as though blessed by fire divine. The sailors stand tall in its blaze, carved as figures of legend against the storm's canvas. For a moment, the sea calms beneath them, though the sky rages on above. The glow deepens, drawing them onward, toward depths no map dares to mark. They know not what awaits, yet they do not turn back, for turning back no longer exists. The youngest sailor closes his eyes, feeling the sea's voice not in ears, but in heart. It speaks in silence, vast and eternal, telling truths too great for words. He opens his eyes, tears mixing with rain, and nods as though in answer. The storm surges once more, but the men are ready, their spirits bound tighter than rope. They have become one with the voyage, with the trial, with the eternal will of the sea. The captain lifts his gaze, voice strong, onward into the heart. Let the sea reveal its depths. And the ship plunges forward, lightning crowning its mast, waves carrying it into the unknown. The men do not resist. They surrender, not in defeat, but in faith to the storm eternal. For they are no longer just sailors. They are witnesses, chosen to glimpse the depths of Poseidon. The storm begins to soften, though its power still hums in the bones of the sea and sky. The waves ease, rolling not with fury but with rhythm, steady as the heartbeat of eternity. The sailors stand in silence, drenched but unbroken, their eyes lifted to a horizon they cannot see. The youngest sailor breathes deeply, his chest rising with awe, his lips parting to whisper, "We remain." The captain lowers his hands from the helm, shoulders heavy yet steady, his gaze searching the quieting deep. The glow beneath fades, not in retreat, but in gift, leaving warmth lingering within their hearts. It is as though the sea itself has marked them, etched its memory into their very souls. No man speaks, for words feel small before the vastness they have touched. The sky clears in streaks, revealing stars bright and ancient, eyes of the cosmos watching their passage. The moon rises pale and calm, its silver light softening the scars of the storm's wrath. The ship drifts forward, no longer fighting, but carried as though cradled by unseen hands. The captain breathed the salt air, his voice low yet clear. We are returned, but not the same. Each sailor knows this truth, for within them the storm still sings, a hymn of eternity. The youngest sailor closes his eyes, seeing not darkness, but the glow of depths forever burned within. He smiles through exhaustion, knowing he will carry this night beyond time, into every shore he touches. The sea is calm now, yet its silence speaks louder than the roar of any tempest. It tells them they have crossed a threshold, witnessed what few are meant to see, not wrath, not destruction, but revelation, Poseidon's eternal depths, unveiled only to the chosen. The sailors lean against the rails, gazing outward, each man lost in thought, yet bound by shared wonder. They have faced the abyss, and instead of being swallowed, they were remade. The storm no longer feels like threat, but like baptism, a passage from mortal fear into divine knowing. The youngest sailor whispers once more, "Poseidon," but this time with reverence, as one whispers a prayer. The captain nods, his eyes shining, not with tears, but with the reflection of stars on calm water. He feels no triumph, no conquest, only gratitude for having been allowed to walk that edge. The ship sails steady, its sails filled not with storm, but with gentle night wind. The men rest, but their dreams will not be of land, nor of safe harbors, but of the sea eternal. They have touched its soul, and in turn, it has touched theirs, binding them forever to its depths. Far on the horizon, dawn begins to bloom, painting the sky with the promise of light. The sailors watch in silence, their hearts still echoing the song of waves and thunder. For they know the storm is not gone, only waiting, eternal as the God who stirs it. They are no longer strangers to it, but kin, witnesses of a truth vast as the ocean itself. The youngest sailor leans against the mast, eyes fixed on the horizon, a smile lingering. He feels not fear of storms to come, but anticipation, knowing each wave carries a story. The captain lifts his gaze one last time to the heavens, voice quiet yet resolute. We sail onward, not to escape the storm, but to live within its truth. The sea answers with a gentle swell, lifting the ship as though in approval. The men stand together, their silence filled with meaning, their souls forever bound to the depths. And so the voyage continues, no longer into unknown terror, but into eternal wonder. For they have seen the storm not as end, but as beginning, the eternal depths of Poseidon.